Welcome to the SL First Team. I thought we'd like to introduce our new sports journalist, Peter Hughes. Just to introduce him, Peter, can you give us a bit of background about your history and what you've done before joining us?
Yes, my journalism began with the BBC in Cardiff, where I was a researcher and then a journalist and then a producer. And subsequently I went freelance and decided to focus on what I really like, which is sport.
So what types of sports do you like, which really interest you?
I like most sports, but the sports that I'm really passionate about are motorsport and rugby. But I enjoy cricket and golf and all sorts of other sports as well.
Recently, I asked Peter to go and interview a famous deaf sportsman, a rugby player, and that was Mat Gilbert. So I just want to ask, what it was like when you actually interviewed him.
It was a really enjoyable afternoon. The first thing that impressed me was Bath Rugby Club's training facilities. They've converted a lovely 17th century manor house in Wiltshire. And it's state of the art and as good as any club has got, I should imagine. It's great. But then meeting Matt was a real privilege as well. He's a really nice guy, very down to earth and assuming, and very committed to helping other people with hearing loss to get involved in sport, not just rugby, but in sport.
That's right, because there are lots of deaf youngsters have had limited experiences, limits when they've tried to experience sport. And what Matt is doing is showing that you can achieve and you can get into sport. So with the Bath Rugby training facilities, you said it was an old building. So what was the historical building before?
It was a manor house, as I say, dating back to the 17th century. It's in a very rural location, about 10-12 miles outside Bath. But they've extended it there using traditional Bath stone and things, but they have the most amazing gym, for instance, and things like that.
Wow, so it's all really modern and up to date. Wow.
Yes.
So with Matt, how did he become deaf? What was his story?
He has a condition which I won't try and give the medical term for, but basically it's a loss of the hairs within the ear that help conduct sound. Nobody apparently knows whether it starts from birth, but he became aware of his condition at the age of 5, and his hearing then deteriorated until he was about 19 and then stabilised.
Right, okay. So he was being involved in mainstream in regular rugby for years. In your article as well, you were talking about that Matt actually wears hearing aids on the pitch, and that really surprised me.
Yes, he wears 2 hearing aids. He does say at that level, at the top level of rugby, he couldn't play without some hearing. So he wears 2 hearing aids and has a makeshift way of protecting them, which involves lots of tape to stop them falling out and to keep them dry if it rains. And then he wears a skull cap over that as well.
Oh, that's really interesting, isn't it? Because I remember when I don't know about you, but when I was in school, when you go into PE, you have to take your hearing aids out before you started sport because, but maybe it was health and safety, but it was to protect your hearing in case, or protect yourself in case they got bashed. So he wears a skull cap as well, does he?
Yes, he does, yeah. He wears hearing aids.
So that's to protect his hearing aids?
More than to protect his head, I think, yes. And he's a forward, and they tend to be in the roughest part of the play as well. But he used to take his hearing aid out until he was 10, and then he gave it to a teacher one day who lost it. So after that, he kept wearing it.
So the hearing aid lost his, the teacher lost his hearing aid. I think that's hysterical.
So he decided it was safer to wear it then.
Yeah,
than
most teachers force the children to take the hearing aids out. I don't blame him wanting to keep him in then after that.
No, but he's played since he was 7 years old. He's played rugby, and I think what gave him a little bit of a head start, he was apparently big for his age. So he said he could just pick up the ball and run through the other youngsters.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him. I mean, hopefully, he can be a good role model for other deaf youngsters, so they can see him and think, well, if he can do it, I can as well. Good luck to him, really. Yeah,
it's great. He wants to be a role model. He answers questions from young deaf people if they get in touch with him, and young deaf people go and visit him at Farley, the training ground as well.
Well, that's really nice. So if you wanted to go along and arrange to meet him and have some questions, you can do that. So thank you, Peter. So you know who he is now when you see articles by Peter, our journalist.
Thank you.